Take a load off, traveller, and tell your story. You are now listening to Mackie.
Welcome to my very first episode of what I'm calling The Gateway. It is a podcast geared towards open discussions relating to Ashes of Creation. My first guest today is Brane from BraneGames. Brane, go ahead and introduce yourself for everyone.
Hello. I go by the name of BraneGames on the Discord, and I recently tried to become a community content creator. I've only made a few videos thus far, but I am slowly getting a hang of it.
First of all, what made you want to become a content creator?
So, I don't really have a lot of experience with, videos with voiceover, but it's always been something that has interested me quite a lot. And Ashes of Creation is a game that I'm very passionate about, and it kind of, inspired me to get started because I've been editing videos since I was about 13 years old, so since 2013. So it's kind of something that I've been delving into, but has never really took off the way that I wanted it to.
Why Ashes of Creation? What drew you to the game?
It actually popped up on my Facebook one day as an ad, and I thought it looked kind of interesting. So me and my boyfriend, Frederick, one of the former moderators, we kind of looked into it and eventually joined what was then the unofficial Discord back in, I believe, December 2016. Basically, what kind of hooked me on the game is I've always been an MMO lover. I've played WoW since I was very little. It's kind of the community in games like this is something that always draws me in. And I felt very connected to the people in there and to Steven, the CEO, because he was so open with development and how things were going. So it's something really new to me, and I think it's really exciting to be a part of a journey this early on.
I feel what you feel as a content creator. It's very exciting to do, especially for Ashes of Creation. As a content creator, what do you hope to, what is your goal for your content? What are your long-term goals for your channel?
Enjoyable yet informative. I want to, have a biased opinion if that's what I feel like, but I also want to, guide people through different things, like make guides and learn new stuff alongside of my viewers as my channel grows and as the game grows. As for subscribers and stuff like that, I don't really have a goal. I am just here for fun and to make videos that I enjoy and that I would watch myself. So I guess that's kind of my main goal. I don't really have one in particular right now.
Okay, that's reasonable. It's an answer I can relate to as well, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other content creators in Ashes of Creation can as well. Okay, so as a content creator, how do you determine the style, tone, and the voice that you want to portray for your content? Where do you get that inspiration, or does it come naturally to you?
So, since I have been editing for quite a while, I feel like I've found the style that I like to edit in, both in terms of very stylized videos with a lot of effects and, more still images that I think I'm going to do on my Ashes videos. I don't know yet, but in terms of my voice, I'm not quite sure. I find as though that my voice is kind of timid. People often confuse me for a boy, so I am gonna have to, wait and see where that leads me. I definitely need a new mic. But as for my style, I think I want to go for a clean look with some effects over it that makes it a bit more exciting to watch rather than something that you just listen to.
I was one of the ones who mistook you for one of the other community members, Fiastos, at first.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's always nice to be androgynous. But for those listeners who don't know, Brane is a female. There's a kind of a cloud around female gamers. You know, they tend to get more views. So you could roll with that. No, I don't know.
I could, you know, become a booby streamer. That's a thing.
I don't know how your boyfriend would feel about that.
I don't know either. But I'm sure he would do it if he was, you know, if you were in the same position that I am.
He's like, hey, subscribe. Oh my god. What class and what race will you be rolling in Ashes of Creation, and why?
I know I'm gonna offend a lot of people saying this. Elf.
Woohoo! Yes!
I know a lot of people hate elves, but I think that their feminine look looks just fantastic in most games.
I love you.
Fighter for my main class, and then bot for my secondary class. So I believe it's Blade Dancer. I think it sounded really cool, and I hope that I'll get like maybe some shoes with some spikes on, so that I can walk around kicking people, or like a violin with a knife at the end, so that I can slash people with that.
Wow.
But other than that, I might want to roll a Tolna. I think those sound pretty cool, but it's kind of a mainstream race in my opinion. It's something that everyone wants to play.
Right. Yeah, Tolnar's I'm not sure if you're familiar with Elder Scrolls. They're kind of like the Argonian and the Khajiit. You know, they're the mysterious race.
I believe I've seen them before. Renkai?
Mm-hmm.
No, the Vec Orcs.
The Orcs.
They sound really cool too, like the Astral Orcs. That's pretty nice. It's
going to be very interesting to see all of these races come together aesthetically in Ashes of Creation, definitely.
Yeah, surely.
And I am right there with you with the elves. I love elves. Everything about elves. Some other people, again, they'll probably come and flay us, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll just heal ourselves.
Especially the dwarf lovers.
Yeah.
They hate elves.
Yeah. Oh, so speaking of dwarfs, what are your views on dwarfs?
I don't know. I think they're badass, but I never play them because I feel so annoyed running around and just being like half the size of everyone else. So like the aesthetics and the, you know, lore behind dwarves is pretty cool, but for someone like me, I like something a little bit more feminine and I guess taller than the average dwarf.
Yeah, I get that.
That's why I've never really played gnomes in World of Warcraft either. I can't really take them seriously, I suppose.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep you on dwarves for a little bit.
Alright.
For the Nikwa, the Islander dwarves, what are your thoughts about that?
So what I really like is kind of the contrast between the traditional dwarf and the Nikua dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
They seem very, very different in terms of aesthetics and lore, which I really like. However, I'm a bit scared that they'll just be running around in these hula skirts and with flowers on their head, and I really just don't hope that is going to be their main aesthetic, because I feel as though that they would maybe feel a bit disconnected from the rest of the roster in terms of races and the way that they look and the way that they feel. So they look really cool and they sound really cool, but I just hope that Intrepid, you know, can execute them well.
Yeah, I from the live stream we just had, I believe the word they used for the aesthetics they're going for is real Emmy. Yeah, real Emmy. There you go. So I was super excited to hear that. I'm a huge fan of Asian MMOs. That's all I've ever played. And then this will be Ashes of Creation will be my second Western MMO. So I'm really excited that they're taking parts of different MMO cultures and fusing them together to make a good aesthetic, if that makes sense. Really cool. All right, so we're actually going to touch on the May 4th live stream they just had. yesterday?
Yes.
Well, when this airs, it's going to be a few days. Your thoughts on the current state of Ash's Creation store and the pre-order packages. What are your thoughts, feelings, or otherwise opinions on that?
So I know that there's a lot of opinions like around the internet, on Reddit and on the forums and in Discord. Personally, I don't really have an issue with the store. It's a shame that I won't be able to get every single thing inside of it due to, you know, in the end it would cost me a lot of money.
Right.
But I think it's great. I mean, you're not obligated to buy it, and of course you'll lack that bit of content in your collection if you're a collector like so many other people. But yeah, I have no issue with it, and I know that there's been some, you know, controversy around Stuffathon, especially.
Yes, a ton of controversy. I do see the problem with what's the word I'm looking for? The completionists and the collectors. You know, you have that person with that OCD who needs everything in the game, and I can see that being an issue. Not a huge issue as far as pretty much they've already said there's going to be a plethora of stuff that you can gain in game. So again, cash shop is optional. So at this current state, it's just about putting money into Ashes of Creation for development. It's all optional. And then again, the pre-packages, those are for the people who didn't have the summer backing or are coming in, you know, late, pretty much, or are just catching the game, kind of thing.
Yeah, you're getting something in return, so that's nice.
Right. And I do like the fact that they've broken up those packages for the people who don't want to buy the entire package, and they just, you know, a la carte. Currently part of any organizations?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So this will be an interesting conversation. Alright, so as far as guilds, what is your view about guilds in such an early stage of development? Do you currently have any guilds you see as a negative towards growth in the Ashes of community, or any that you seem who are shedding positive light on the community?
Now, I'm not much into guilds at this point of the game, mostly because I believe that so many things can change before the game even launches.
Right.
I think it's great that people have, you know, smaller communities within the Ashes community, but I feel like it's very early to, you know, decide who you want to spend your time with in game. I don't really think that there's anyone necessarily, you know, shedding bad light upon the game as of now, but as I said, I'm not really that informed in terms of guilds, so I can't really tell if there's anyone creating drama or ruining the game before it's even out, so to speak. But yeah, I can totally see that. I also want to find a guild before the game launches. I just think I'm gonna wait until like beta 1 or 2 before doing so.
You know, you have all the time to shop, I guess.
Yeah.
Alright, so off of guilds, back to some of the more Ashes questions. So as the game progresses, what are you personally looking forward to Intrepid Studios showcasing more of?
The character creation, especially.
Yes.
Because I always use like a couple of hours whenever a game comes out, just, you know, looking through my options and what I can create and what kind of combos I can make in the character creation before the game has even started. So it's definitely something that I would like to see more of, since the team has said that, you know, it will be very wide in terms of choices that you can make in there. So I'm really looking forward to that. And also bots, but that's because I'm really looking forward to the bot class, because I've never seen anything like that in an MMO.
Very early on, Steven said they kind of want to go the direction of Black Desert Online character creation, where it's very detailed. Their character creation is amazing.
It's kind of like Sims.
Yes, exactly. And he also touched on he wanted to implement the character creator before the game launched, so that way we could go ahead and get in there, create our characters, and not have to worry about falling behind our guild members or our friends during launch. I don't know about you, but I'll be in the character creator for like a whole week.
I think I'll do the same thing.
Yes, let's make those elves as beautiful as we can, right?
Yes.
The live stream they just had on the 4th, a lot of interesting things popped up. 2 things that I want to talk about are crossbows and potion launchers. Now, we all know crossbows, usually think of like those long, big siege battles. You have archers firing from the ramparts, down at the attackers, and vice versa. I'm curious to know how they're going to implement crossbows. What are your thoughts on crossbows?
I hope that they'll be, one-handed weapons. I think it would be really cool to run around with like 2 crossbows and firing away, kind of like in Diablo.
That would be really awesome, kind of like a Van Helsing.
It's super cool.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with Elder Scrolls Online, but I will explain it to you guys in case you aren't. So in Elder Scrolls Online, they have a skill in one of the passives for the guild, for one of their guilds, and it's a crossbow. I think it's called Silver Bolts or something, and you essentially activate it, and it shoots out a firebolt, and it does extra damage to vampires or werewolves, I believe.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the animation itself isn't something to get excited about, but the simple fact that if you're one of those creatures and you're fighting someone else in PvP and they pull this thing out and just shoot you with it gives you a sense of uniqueness, I guess you could say. Now, let's talk about I thought one of the more funnier weapons was the potion launcher. I have no idea. When I first think of a potion launcher, I think of this healer in the background, in the back, with 2 potion launchers, 1 mana and 1 HP in each hand, and just shooting in the air into the raid. What were your first thoughts about that?
I don't know if you know it, but there's kind of this potion seller meme on the internet. It's great. It's this guy pretending to be a potion seller and the buyer at the same time. It's awesome.
Oh, really?
I suggest you check it out.
I'm gonna have to look that up now.
But I basically just I imagine like a sketchy person sitting in a corner somewhere in a city selling potions. He has all these special potions, and they do various different things like polymorph and make people dance and something like that. And some people would just buy it and walk around trolling other people on the battlefield. I don't really think that it will be a legit weapon unless it's assigned to like a very special class.
Right.
Okay. But since we know that weapons are something that you can use on, like, none of them are locked to a certain class, I think it's going to be something that people will just use for fun most of the time, unless it's like super OP.
Here's a thought. What if the potion launcher is part of the siege mechanics, where you can only get them during the PvP declaration time? Where guilds go to siege a castle, there's a certain vendor on the defender side and on the attacker side that you can go and buy these potion launcher potions for siege time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would make sense.
That'd be kind of interesting. That really caught my eye, so I'm gonna have to keep following that development.
Maybe you could have like a potion that burns through terrain, so that you would be able to make a hole in the city and just run through it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe like potions with certain creature damage, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of vampires, like flankless instead.
I know in one of the backer packages we had the demonic, the angelic, then we had a fire, and we had an ice elemental skin, and those were all considered racial skins. Do you think, or do you have any thoughts of them implementing other racial features like vampires, werewolves, goblins, and stuff like that? Do you hope that they add that, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, I hope that they add, additional races down the line. But in terms of skins, I would like to see, more elemental skins, like counterparts to one another, kind of like the demonic and the fire and ice skins.
Right.
So
maybe not in a package, but that you can obtain in game, sort of.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'm not really, a fan of buying too much from the cash shop. I'd rather, play through an epic quest line and then eventually get the skin that I've worked for a week or a month. I think that's a lot cooler.
Yeah, and it gives you a sense of achievement in game, especially since they're going for that dynamic lived-in feel for the game. It would really add to the element. We recently got some more combat video in the May 4th live stream. What are your thoughts on the current state of the combat?
So it definitely needs work. I still think that, it's a bit clunky, but as we know, a lot of the combat hasn't really been worked on because they focused more on I believe the 4 pillars of the game.
Right.
So I'm not really, worried, but I think that it needs polishing, like so many other games combat does. It's a bit flashy, in my opinion. I had a hard time, figuring out what was going on in that 40-man party. But but I feel like, that's kind of expected when you're in such a large group. And I think that, animations and particle effects is something that we're going to get a bit later along the line, because it's something that you usually work on at the end of development rather than getting, the core mechanics into the game. So
right.
I'm not really worried, but yeah, it needs work.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with one of the videos posted by Fever a while back criticizing Ashes of Creation.
The PAX East or the PAX West video? Because I've seen both.
The current one, the PAX West.
Alright, yep, yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, so I know there's a good majority in the community who white knight the game. I want your thoughts on Ashes of Creation's development, both positive and negative.
I love how open the team has been, but I feel like, it kind of sets expectations for how much content you're gonna get at a certain time. So there has definitely been periods of time where I feel as though we haven't gotten as much info. I don't really think that from PAX West to East a lot of stuff has happened. I definitely agree with Fever on that, statement. But I mean, I don't think it's the right time to, be concerned about what's going to happen with Ashes and such. I think we need to wait a bit further down the line. There has been a period of time where we haven't really seen as much progress as we might have liked. And I get that people are, a bit concerned about where the game is going and what direction they're going in, if they're going, forward really fast or if they're, developing at a slower pace.
Right.
Because, of course, the developers can tell us that, we're progressing really fast. But if you can't really see that, it's kind of hard to believe. And, that's kind of the other side of the coin when there's that transparent with us. It's hard to necessarily, see development and to see how the game has evolved over time when the changes are that minor and that small. And especially since we're at the state that we're in, it's not a lot of things happening on the visual side of the game. It's more so the back end and the core mechanics that are being placed into the game currently. So I hope, because I'll be a bit disappointed if that doesn't happen, that as we go into Alpha 1 and Beta, we'll see, more visual content that we can actually feel and try out within the game.
And I am right there. I agree with everything you just said. As a community, we have to take the negative and the positive and just talk about it. Be open about it. Don't be afraid of expressing negative opinions in a constructive way. And we also have to take into account that everyone has varying opinions, and we can't ostracize or attack other people for their opinions about Ashes of Creation, because it will enrich the community, it will make us stronger, and Ashes of Creation will be that game that stood the test of time if we can all just learn to listen and learn from everyone's opinions.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there has been kind of this stigma where you can't really come in and talk about something that you're concerned about in the Ashes Discord, for example, without getting attacked.
Yes.
And,
yes.
and I think that's kind of a problem. That's definitely something that needs to be worked on, because, criticism may not always be constructive, but it's always useful to some extent.
Yes, I totally agree with that, and I'm glad that I finally get the chance to actually hear someone say it out loud. Not to say other podcast shows have not. It's just in that medium, a lot of people feel constricted. They feel if they say the wrong thing on those podcasts, then no one will take them seriously, or they'll be alienated from getting viewers or subscribers or whatever. So I hope that more community members will embrace what we're doing here, be more open, and have a real conversation without any pretense.
Yeah, instead of just saying, you suck, you don't deserve to be here because you don't like my Stuffathon mount, or
yeah, exactly.
stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. If Ashes of Creation should fail,
yes,
or should fail to live up to its hype, how would that affect your outlook for the MMO genre, and how would you be affected as a supporter?
In terms of how I would be affected as a supporter, I think it depends on in the manner which the game fails. Because if it's the team breaking the trust that we have, I would definitely have an issue, especially with the company, and I wouldn't really want to trust them again. But if it's something, them running out of funding, horrible happening to the studio, and the game just failing at one point, I wouldn't really be as upset. Regardless, I'm gonna be a bit sad that I spent $490 on the game if it fails, but
yeah,
it is what it is. And regardless, I've had a lot of fun just community in general, so I've kind of already gotten the of the game before the game is even out. So for me, it sucks and it would be horrible, but that's just the way it is. And my love for MMOs, I think that I would want to or dislike it, or completely stray away from it, but there's always going to be a part of me that loves the aspects that the MMO genre has, and I don't think that's ever really going to change, regardless of whether the game fails or not.
Thank you for your honesty and your answer. Are you a PvP player or a PvE player?
I am a PvE player that wants to try PvP, I think.
Okay.
I've always been a bit intimidated by PvP because I've always been really bad at games. So, PvE was kind of, the safe zone for me, where if I couldn't, try it hardcore, I could at least go into the dungeon or raid finder in World of Warcraft and somehow manage to get into 5th place in damage dealt.
Right.
But whenever I tried going into PvP, I would just get wrecked because I didn't know my cooldowns, I didn't know my combo, I didn't know how to properly use my trinkets, and everything would just, fuck up. So I really want to try PvP, but I probably suck. So we're gonna have to wait and see.
Well, whenever you're ready for PvP, I'll be in game. hopefully we're on the same server. But even if we're not, you know, I'll go create some little twink character somewhere, and we'll do some PvP because I love PvP, and I will carry you.
Yes.
It'll be awesome. Trust me, it'll be so awesome. All right, so that concludes our little podcast. I want to thank my special guest, Brane, for taking the time and participating in this project. You are welcome back anytime that you want to talk. It was a pleasure having you. So Brane, for those who are curious to find you, where should they go?
My YouTube channel is BraneGames, and so is my Discord. I think it's BraneGames 2729 or something if you want to find my hashtag. But yeah, it's basically just BraneGames on all my platforms. So
awesome.
It should be easy to find. And thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate you coming on. We had some hiccups, but we're good. I want to thank everyone who has been listening or who will listen in the future. Again, the links to Brane will be below in the description of the video. Everyone have a great day. We will see you again sometime soon. I want to thank the Ashes of Creation community. You're a very awesome community. I love you guys. Brane loves you guys. So
most of you.
Okay. But yeah, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you again. Brane, thank you so much, and I will see you around the community, okay? Welcome to everyone who is joining us for the first time, and for returning. I fucked that up. Sorry. I have a filthy mouth, so I'm so sorry about that.
Follow our links below for more content and subscribe.